On the right side, you get this. Get the fender parts. Just bend that up and out of the way. You can tie a string to it. Move the fender off to the left-hand side. Now you got the chain to deal with, and the chain is a little bit different in each bike. Just take a long, flat-bladed screwdriver. You don't have to take this panel off to get the chain off of the front sprocket. Sometimes you can get lucky. You can just rotate it off the rear sprocket. So let's move the wheel forward. Give it a good tug there, and you can just rotate the wheel until the chain comes off the sprocket. You want the chain to ride on the outside, not on the inside, because you don't want to get it caught up in the pedal lag sensor. That's right there. Sometimes that chain will get wedged in there, and then when you try to get it unwedged, you end up taking all this plastic off to get at it. Otherwise, you'll break the pedal lag sensor. So there's, that's just for the price of the DVD alone, saving you having to buy a pedal lag sensor. So you try to rotate the wheel and the chain out of the way of the pedal lag sensor to the right. Yes, there's always a trick to this. Sometimes you can get the chain to just derail off the rear just by prying it off with a screwdriver. Sometimes you have to use the front sprocket to do such a trick. I'm going to try it for the rear today. That way you can actually see it come off. You can just pull on the inner side of the chain. Sometimes you can get it to come off. There you go. Rotate the pedal forward while pulling on the chain outward, and the chain slack. And then you're going to pull the wheel back with the chain off the front sprocket, which is easier now because you got slack. And you can do the same thing. Pull the chain towards you, rotate the wheel to the right. That way it de-threads the chain off the sprocket and into this plastic piece here, rather than there it goes. And it's off the sprocket, and it's right around in here in this plastic piece. Trying to get this plastic piece out, I've tried taking these two nuts off and that nut. This piece tends to want to crack. You can loosen these series of nuts and split the plastic off of there, and eventually you'll get it off. But it just never seems to go back on, and it seems like that plastic piece is rather fragile, so you end up with a cracked piece of plastic. So you end up just taking it off altogether and leave it off, or put some other chain guard on. No, I don't have that plastic piece. I wish we maybe should have ordered some of those. Okay, now we got oodles of slack on the chain, and the wheel can come out. Now all the encumbering stuff is out of the way. Lift the rear end, move the fender over, wheel comes forward. This brake hardware likes to snag right there, so you push that forward, lift this end up, take this keeper fastener off. It's the chain tensioner. And you can't screw up the orientation, but it's the same thing for the right hand side. It's got to be facing outward in that shape right there. Take that lock washer off. Now you have side to side play with the wheel, which is important when you want to go take the right side off. Lift the ass end of the bike up, or use your shoulder. It's not that heavy. And if you get enough slack in your chain, it should come out far enough to get these two fasteners out. Nope, it's not off the front sprocket yet. Not enough slack. Well, of course, you could get a chain breaker and just separate the chain. But that kind of defeat the point. Pull the chain towards you. Put it on the front side, rotate it around. There we go. Pull the excess amount of chain back. There, now we got slack. Now you can pull the wheel back far enough. You take off these two lock fasteners out of the way of the seat. Nobody said it was fun or clean. You might want to put on a pair of gloves if you're afraid of a little grease. known in the state of California to cause birth defects and reproductive harm. Notice the orientation of that fastener. This is just a washer. Stack those two so you remember which way it went on. There will be a test at the end of this. We're putting it back together. Push the wheel forward on the right hand side. Make sure the brake hardware is out of the clear of the stand. Scoot the wheel forward a little bit, and you should be able to get it around the axle. And now the wheel is free. Now you can actually change and fix a flat tire. And I'll pause the video and take this thing over to the workbench, and we'll go over the maintenance on the wheel.